The time is precisely 1:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Danushka Madhavala and read by Chandima Veerakon. Headlines. The Premier requested all parties to join hands in this difficult situation. National Fuel Pass QR system will be effective island-wide from tomorrow. Litrogas Company assures continued gas supply in the future. Health authorities warn that COVID-19 infections are increasing. 5 persons have been arrested in connection with damaging the properties of the President's house. Plans are underway to restructure the Ceylon Electricity Board. Fuel Pass QR system transactions exceed 1 million. Sri Lanka continues discussions with IMF to enter into an extended fund facility. And in foreign news, Zelensky orders civilians to evacuate Donetsk region. In sports news, England on brink of history as Germany await for the Women's Euro 2022 soccer. Local stories in detail. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena worshipped the sacred tooth relic this morning. The Premier, addressing the gathering this morning, has said that any government is legally bound to protect the rule of law in the country. If anyone faced injustice, they can go to the courts to seek justice. The government will not intervene the independence of the judiciary. The Premier was replying the questions raised regarding the Galle-Face protesters. The government will call for an all-party government. The President will make a special statement in this regard on the 3rd of next month. The Premier requested all parties to join hands in this difficult situation. National Fuel Pass QR system will be effective island-wide from tomorrow. The Ministry of Power and Energy says that last-digit number plate system, token and other systems that were in place will be invalid and the QR system and quota will be applied. Fuel distribution will be prioritized for fuel stations that have adopted to the QR system. The system will be monitored to check the number of users of QR from the stocks distributed to the fuel stations. Vehicle users are able to register with chassis number will be able to register with the revenue license number from tomorrow. Request all three-wheelers to register with respective police station and to nominate the closest fuel station to them. The ministry requests users of generators, garden equipment, machinery and other equipment that require fuel to register at the respective divisional secretariats with the type of fuel required, weekly fuel requirement and the choice of fuel station. Business with multiple vehicles can register all the vehicles with their business registration number. Public transport will be given a priority. The fuel quota for buses will be allocated at CTB depots with the quota decided by the route permit and the number of kilometers in service. CTB depots will be facilitated the diesel requirements of school service vehicles, office transport vehicles, industries, tourism sector, ambulances and other essential services verified by the authorities. Ambulances will be given a priority at all fuel stations and will be given the requested amount of fuel by them to refill their vehicles. Police department will be given an allocated quota system from selected fuel stations in each police division and will be communicated accordingly. The public will be able to send photos or videos as evidence on WhatsApp of illegal fuel stocking or sales activities to the number 074 212 3123. QR access will be temporarily blocked for repeated offenders and legal action will be taken accordingly. Litro Gas Company assures continued gas supply in the future. The company says 100,000 cylinders will be released to the market daily. The company added that more than 2 million cylinders have been released to the market during this month. Queues for gas were ended in many areas in the country. Another shipment of LP gas has arrived in the country and the stock is unloading. Another shipment of gas will be arriving in the country tonight. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Deputy Director General of Health Services Dr. Hemantha Herath said a new outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic is spreading rapidly around the world and there was an increase in the number of COVID-19 infected people in Sri Lanka during the past few days. Dr. Herath called upon the public to be careful to avoid the COVID-19 infection and to get the fourth COVID-19 vaccine as soon as possible. The Deputy Director General of Health Services said that it is recommended to wear face masks, especially in public areas, when using public transport and indoor places where a large number of people gather, and other health guidelines should also be followed properly. Acting Chief Epidemiologist and Specialist Dr. Samitha Genige said there will be no expiry of the COVID-19 vaccine on the 31st of July. The company has confirmed its period till October 31st through scientific research and has been approved by the World Health Organization following proper procedures. Therefore, anyone should not have any fear of getting the vaccine. 5 persons have been arrested in connection with the case of damaging the properties of the President's house in Petta early this month. They were arrested in Nuwara Eliya. When police arrived in one person's house, the other 4 were found residing in the house. Investigations revealed that the other 4 persons also linked to the case and they were hiding in the first suspect's house. The registration of vehicles for the National Fuel Pass with the revenue license has been enabled. Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara said the highest number of fuel stations using the QR system in a single day was reported yesterday. Accordingly, 746 stations adopted the software yesterday, beating Friday's record high. Taking to Twitter, Minister Wijesekara revealed that a total of 1,060 fuel stations have adopted the system as at 8:30 p.m. yesterday. The minister also said over 1.1 million transactions were conducted over the QR system thus far, and meanwhile the Ministry of Energy said the National Fuel Pass is being rolled out across the island from tomorrow. Sri Lanka's Power and Energy Minister Kanchana Wijesekara yesterday said the country's energy supplier Ceylon Electricity Board need restructuring and he plans to obtain the cabinet approval for the initiative. At the progress review meeting of the power sector held Thursday with the Ceylon Electricity Board and the Sustainable Energy Authority, the minister said since 2014 the CEB has not initiated nor commissioned any new major power plants. He said that no large-scale power projects have been implemented and no progress has been made in the implementation of renewable energy projects since 2014, and necessary changes will have to be made to change the slow pace of the work by the CEB. This could be done by undertaking a mandatory restructuring of the Electricity Board. The minister said, adding that through the necessary restructuring plans, electricity generation, transmission and distribution should be separated into 3 parts. The minister expects to get the necessary cabinet approval and parliamentary approval urgently for the restructuring. To end the local news, the headlines again. The Premier requested all parties to join hands in this difficult situation. National Fuel Pass QR system will be effective island-wide from tomorrow. Litro Gas Company assures continued gas supply in the future. Health authorities warn that COVID-19 infections are increasing. 5 persons have been arrested in connection with damaging the properties of the President's house. Plans are underway to restructure the Ceylon Electricity Board. Fill Pass QR system, transactions exceed 1 million. Sri Lanka continues discussions with IMF to enter into an extended fund facility. That ends the local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddha Lepaveda Mahatmya.
And on the main news story, the Finance Ministry said that Sri Lankan authorities have engaged in discussions with the International Monetary Fund with a view to entering an extended fund facility to support Sri Lanka's macroeconomic reform program. After the spring meetings with the IMF in April 2022, a virtual mission took place in early May, followed by an IMF mission to Colombo from 20th to 30th June. Updating on the progress of the discussions with the IMF, the Finance Ministry said discussions continued virtually with a view of reaching a stall-level agreement, and substantial progress was made during discussions on the fiscal, monetary and structural reforms necessary to stabilize the economy. That ends the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddha Lepaveda Mahatmya.
And on Watchlight, the Health Ministry says that another 83 persons have tested positive for COVID-19 yesterday, bringing the tally of COVID-19 cases registered in the country thus far to 665,526. Following the new development, the number of patients under medical care of receiving home-based care now stands at 922. Meanwhile, the death toll moved to 16,556 after 3 more fatalities confirmed by the Director General of Health Services on Friday were confirmed yesterday. That ends Watchlight. On to the world news, the headlines. Zelensky orders civilians to evacuate Donetsk region. At least 25 dead in worst Appalachia floods in Kentucky 4 years. U.S. President Joe Biden tests positive for COVID after rebound infection. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has ordered all civilians still living in parts of eastern Donetsk region under Ukrainian control to evacuate. Speaking during a late-night address from Kyiv, Mr. Zelensky warned of an intensification of fighting. The more people leave Donetsk region now, the fewer people the Russian army will have time to kill, he said. The region has seen heavy clashes amid a slow advance by Russian forces who already control large parts of it. Devastating flash floods have killed at least 25 people in the Appalachia region of eastern Kentucky, the worst such disaster there for decades. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear said he expected the death toll to continue to rise. He said hundreds of homes and businesses had been flooded. President Joe Biden has declared the floods a major disaster and ordered federal aid to help local rescuers. Among the dead are at least 6 children, including a 1-year-old. Scientists say climate change is triggering more extreme weather events like the Kentucky flooding. U.S. President Joe Biden has tested positive for COVID-19 again in what has been described as a rebound infection by his doctor. The 79-year-old first contracted the virus on 21st July when he was revealed to be experiencing mild symptoms. On Saturday, Mr. Biden said he was not experiencing symptoms but would isolate for the safety of everyone around him. The president had tested negative for the virus 4 times between Tuesday and Friday last week. That ends the world news. We move on to the development news. The grace period offered for the vehicle registered within the Western Province to renew revenue licenses has been extended further. The Office of the Chief Secretary of Western Province has announced in a press release that the decision was taken in view of the difficulties faced by the public when arriving at the Department of Motor Traffic to obtain services, due to limited transport facilities available as a result of a fuel shortage in the country. Accordingly, it has been decided not to charge overdue charges when issuing the vehicle revenue permits until the 31st of August 2022. That ends development news.
Sports News is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
Moving on to sports news. England's Lionesses stand on the brink of women's football history as they take on Germany in the European Championship final at Wembley today. Victory would be both the first major trophy for the England women's team and the first football honour for the nation since the men's 1966 World Cup win, as well as making the team household names. A victory is also predicted to catapult women's football in England to new heights. That ends sports news.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSP U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
And on business news, Amazon and Apple posted better than expected sales, reassuring investors that the tech giants will be able to weather slowdowns in global economies. Amazon forecast in a trading update that higher fees for its Prime membership would boost its bottom line, while Apple said demand for its all-important iPhone remained strong. Both firms said they were making progress controlling running costs despite prices rising at rapid rates. The update sent shares soaring. That ends business news.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSP U Trust.
Economic News, courtesy of
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
And on economic news, China has signaled that it may miss its annual economic growth target as COVID restrictions weigh on the world's second largest economy. On Thursday, the Politburo, the ruling Communist Party's top policy-making body, said it aims to keep growth within a reasonable range. It did not mention the official growth target of 5.5% it had earlier set. China is continuing to pursue a zero-COVID policy that has put major cities into full or partial lockdowns. That ends economic news.
LOLC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 golds at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LOLC Finance claims the overall gold award whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking. LOLC Finance will continue to innovate with the next generation digitalization of financial services, delivering a superior customer experience.
And finally, we take a look at the weather report. Showers or thundershowers will occur at western, Sabaragamuwa and northwestern provinces and in Kandy, Nuwara Galle and Mathura districts. Showers or thundershowers will occur elsewhere, particularly during the afternoon or night. Fairly heavy showers above 50 millimeters can be expected at some places in Uva province and in Batiklo, Ampara, Galle and Mathura districts. That ends the weather report. And to conclude this bulletin of news, the headlines again. The Premier requested all parties to join hands in this difficult situation. National Fuel Pass QR system will be effective island-wide from tomorrow. Litrogas Company assures continued gas supply in the future. Health authorities warn that COVID-19 infections are increasing. 5 persons have been arrested in connection with damaging the properties of the President's house. Plans are underway to restructure the Ceylon Electricity Board. Fuel Pass QR system transactions exceed 1 million. Sri Lanka continues discussions with IMF to enter into an extended fund facility. And in news overseas, Zelensky orders civilians to evacuate Donetsk region. In sports news, England on brink of history as Germany await for the Women's Euro 2022 soccer. And with that, we conclude this bulletin of news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.